Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress Kentucky. We have got a wonderful show to you. We're going to send a show to you. It's right now coming your way through the internet, and it's going to be wonderful. Except for maybe this part right now. After we check in with tonight's co-host, we'll be doing a Kentucky political news roundup. We've got a call to action to join the fight for a more compassionate Kentucky. And we're speaking with Catherine Muller about what's going on in Eastern Kentucky. But first, our quick plug for Progress Kentucky. We are an all-volunteer campaign. Can you tell we're all volunteer? We are committed to connecting the dots between Republican-led policies which harm our state. We'll be hearing more about those later, while supporting a better political way forward for our Commonwealth. And if that sounds like a mission that you can get behind, please head to our secure Act Blue page, make a donation. $50, $500, anywhere in between. It all adds up and it all supports our efforts to turn Kentucky purple. We do. We want to get to blue, but we understand that we're deeply red right now and we're going to have to get to purple before we get to blue. So we've got a multi-step process and we need you to support that effort. So going to quick check in with our hosts. Who are you? Where are you? And what does your protest sign say today? And of course, you in the comments, you watching us on the interwebs, please put your sign there in the Facebook comments. I want to see what you guys have to say. But I'm Aaron. I'm coming to you from Childsburg in Lexington. And my sign says, hate Biden, Pelosi, and Schumer. Socialist stimulus checks accepted here. I'm sure I will get plenty of those donations. Hey, Denise, what's up with you?
Hey there, Aaron. This is me, Denise Gray, coming to you for the north side of Kentucky. Or where am I? See, now I'm tongue-tied, just like you. The north side of Lexington. And my protest sign says, well, I'm not going to hold it up. I was going to hold it up before. Well, maybe I will do it.
Wait, I want to see it. Show us.
Okay. It says, can you all see it? When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Dr. Maya Angelou. And that goes out to the Republican Party, who just stabbed children's futures in the heart and opened up the door for state funding to the Satanic School of Kentucky. So thank you, Damon Thayer.
Ooh, and more on that story later. Kimberly, hey.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Cecil Jones, and I'm coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky, in my nice living room. And my protest sign says today, GOP must go immediately. They're doing too much and they're not doing anything, so they need to go. We have to start now to get them all voted out.
Woo! I'm in. Let's do it. And hey, Ken, there behind the board.
Oh, hello. It's a beautiful, rainy, terribly cold, gross Monday. I'm coming from north side of town, not too far away. I see Denise Gray sometimes at the grocery, and that's always exciting.
That's a treat for him, everybody. That's a treat.
Who wouldn't find that a treat?
It is a treat. It was.
Ask my sister.
Anyway, my protest sign says reorg. Go to KentuckyDemocrats.org and participate. Don't just post about stuff that, on the internet. Like, participate. Just like this. That's the website. That's my protest sign.
Awesome. Get involved. Opportunities are open now. All right, so let's do our news roundup. Let's hit into the news of the week. And I think the first story comes to us via Kimberly.
Thank you, Aaron. President Biden signs the American Rescue Plan into law. Folks have already started receiving stimulus deposits. I haven't, but I personally know people that have. As President Biden said on March the 11th, the American Rescue Plan means a $7,000 check for a single mom of 4. It means more to support safely and quickly reopen schools. It means setting up additional vaccination sites to help America get back to normal. So in case you don't know everything that's really the key points that are in the bill, let me be the one to tell you that it means a $1,400 direct payment for those who need them the most. It's going to be cutting childhood poverty in half through a per child tax credit of $300 per month, housing assistance for 12 months, and also $300 a month, or is that a week, unemployment assistance, and money for live music venues to help them hang on until it's safe to reopen, and also support for independently owned restaurants through debt-free aid, safer school reopenings. Most of you parents are very, very interested about that. Funding for vaccine production and distribution, specific support for rural health providers, including telehealth and vaccine distribution to folks that are otherwise hard to reach. So that would also mean our homeless. I know that they're saving back about 1,500 right here in Louisville, Kentucky, of the Johnson & Johnson one shot and we're done shot to the homeless. So also, let's talk about right now, here's what Kentucky only a Democrat in Washington, Chairman John Yarmuth, whom we love very much, he said, we promised relief. The president promised relief. And now help is on the way. So as the Budget Committee Chairman, he played a significant role in crafting and passing this bill. So let's ask, what did the Republicans do in response? Well, I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, you will not be shocked. Now, a senator took credit for a program despite voting against the bill. And was that Lisa Murkowski that put something in the bill, knowing all along that she was not going to vote on the bill? And here in Kentucky, the GOP-led House immediately moved a budget which would lock down Governor Beshear's efforts to use the anticipated $2.4 billion in direct aid to Kentucky. Remember, this is the type of direct aid to states that Mitch McConnell despised. Because why? It lets folks like Andy Beshear make decisions and figure out really how best to help residents in need. So the power-hungry leadership in Frankfurt, as we well know, Senate President Robert Stivers, House Speaker David Osborne, and others have developed legislative strategies to stop the types of projects Governor Beshear was able to do with previous state support dollars, such as rent, support eviction relief efforts, and COVID vaccine distribution and contact tracing. The Republican budget also cut Governor Beshear's efforts to provide raises for state workers, fix the state's unemployment system, and increase broadband. Instead, the GOP does this. The GOP budget puts this historic windfall into an already swollen rainy day fund. What is the point of sitting on stimulus dollars? I don't understand it. If somebody does, please comment if you do understand this, because Republican lawmakers have constituents who are hurting right now. And as the Senate Majority Leader and friend of the live stream, Morgan McGarvey, said, we have $1 billion in the rainy day fund when most Kentuckians are bailing water out of their basements with a broken sump pump. Thankfully, much of the federal money that comes to the state is targeted and will go to programs we mentioned earlier, free of the political interference of the GOP. Now, if you really want to look at a deeper meaning and deeper insight of all of these issues, on the screen, you can see right there, and you want to know what this budget would do, check out the Kentucky Center for Economic Policy Analysis right here on our screen. That is the link that you want to go to if you would like more information about the budget here in Kentucky, which I'm sure that everyone is very, very interested about that. So back to you, Aaron.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a lot of news, right? So this American Rescue Plan is enormous, right? And the very long list of issues that she rattled off there is just like kind of a drop in the bucket, right? But I think it's important that we spend some time with it, because it's the stuff that's going to have like a real impact on people's lives. Like, the child tax credit, which you don't have to pay taxes to get that child credit. So the $300 a month will help. I think, the estimate is that like half the kids that are in poverty will no longer be in poverty because of that tax credit, which is pretty phenomenal. And that is, that's a game changer. So I'm excited to see it. I hope, that President Biden gets lots of credit for it. And I hope that, the Republicans in Frankfurt's efforts to kind of stymie as much of that as possible are, I don't know. I hope their constituents hold them accountable for it, because it's garbage. Denise, what do you think?
Well, I concur. But, like I keep saying, or my protest sign says today, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And I'm going to transition into this next story right here. Here's story number 2. Teachers in Frankfurt were raising awareness in opposition to a bill. This is last week. Opposition to a bill moving through the legislature. House B 563 passed the full House last week, despite strong opposition. As amended, the bill does all of the following: allows quote unquote public school choice, establishes education opportunity accounts, and corresponding tax credits for donors. Thirdly, it allows the use of education opportunity account money to pay tuition for private schools in 3 counties. And those counties are Jefferson County, Fayette County, and Kenton County. It also establishes a task force to review the school funding formula. And finally, it includes statutory language to facilitate full-day kindergarten without funding, which would need to be added to a separate budget bill. So basically, they passed something that there's no money for at this time. But the bill will now move to the Senate, which it moved there today. Although there are no scheduled meetings of the Senate Education Committee this week, at this point in the session, committee meetings can be called with very little advance notice. We are in the twilight of this session. If the Senate takes action on the provisions of House Bill 563 and make adjustments to add funding for the kindergarten provisions, the bill will require 60 votes for final passage in the House. It should be noted also that the legislature could easily provide the $100 million price for full-day kindergarten in the state budget and pass it clean without chaining it to school choice provisions or school vouchers. So you all, that's what was just passed, just in case you all weren't clear. It was school vouchers, which many educators, of course, are against, which we have seen in other states the ramification of such things. So I want you to watch the General Assembly very closely, like very, very closely. These are the last days of the session. And these days, the last days, the twilight of the sessions are always full of procedural shenanigans and questionable tactics drama. And Tuesdays, I believe, tomorrow is the last day of the 2021 session. So, and we have 2 days until, that are left open for vetoes. So remember what my protest sign is? When someone shows you who they are, you believe them the first time. I hope Kentuckians are listening. So we do have strong warriors out there who are doing the job. fighting for the students and our educators. We have KEA president, my personal friend of the show, Eddie Campbell, said, House Bill 563 proves that legislators have no intention of meeting their constitutional obligations to fund public schools and adequately or equitably. It's a sham, and it's also a shame. We need to put our children first. We need to put the future of our Commonwealth first. And it's obvious by the actions of the controlling party in Frankfurt. They don't give a darn about the real people of Kentucky. So what do you all think, Kimberly and Aaron?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'll just say, I think this is a bummer. This is a total camel's nose move, right? So they want to just start the process, these tax credits, which will basically allow for private entities to, to get involved with school funding. So taking public funds away from public schools and putting them into private schools. It's like it's like a multi-step process to do it, but it will work, and it will allow them to, at least in those 3 counties, move public funds, out of the public system and put it into the private system. And that is, that's just not what taxpayer funds should be for, in my view, right?
And can I add one more thing? In 2018, educators, all of us who were in our red protesting, we told you that what that party was doing, what Governor Bevin was attempting to do at that time, was just the beginning. Many Kentuckians didn't believe us. Many Kentuckians thought that we were being dramatic. But we're seeing exactly what happening in right now that we told you would happen. And this is not over. There are so many things this party has been attempting to do with the help of ALEC. And this is just the beginning. This was an ALEC bill before. And so it's passed. It wasn't written for the people. It was written by a private conservative group who writes policy so they can benefit them. So you all, it's happening. Vote accordingly.
I would like to say, as far as there's many points I would like to make on the information that Denise has given to us, but one of the things that stuck out to me, working within the public school system in Jefferson County, I didn't have a paid position, but for 2 years I was the membership chair of the PTA, and I was the spokesperson for the PTA. So I saw this failure to really include parents. We have more grandparents taking care of children now. I saw the disconnect from the education system to the parents and grandparents or whomever else, and especially the children. Although my daughter, another point that I would like to make, and what Denise was talking about also, is that to the private schools here in Jefferson County, my daughter was a graduate of Sacred Heart Academy, and there was not a lot of monies available for me to pay that tuition and a lot of cost. And I mean, it was just astronomical, let me tell you. But the Archdiocese did give about $1,000 every semester to help me out. My feelings are, before we start working with the private schools, let's get the public schools together and let's find out a way that we can include those parents and those grandparents in moving forward on our education system. Because right now, Kentucky doesn't have a very good reputation when it comes to education. A lot of people are wanting to leave the state just because they want their children to have a better education. I graduated from public school. My son graduated from public school. However, Also, this full day kindergarten deal and passing laws that you don't have any money for. That's almost like what they say, you're writing checks, you're behind cash. So those are the things that I would like to point out. It seems ludicrous. I can't wrap my head around it very much. And it just seems like more of a cover up of something more nefarious going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is. Like it's very nefarious, right? And again, it's like one step down the road towards, just a wholesale dismantling of our public school system. If they get away with this, they're kind of putting in place some processes that could be, I think, amplified and increased. So it really is important that folks, that we block this bill as much as we possibly can. The problem, of course, is they've got these, super majorities in both houses. And so we've got, I think the governor can veto this, but depending on the timing, right, they will just be able to come back and overrule his veto, right? So there's like 3 days left in the session. There's tomorrow, and then at the end of the month, there's 2 more days where they can overturn vetoes. So I think that's the idea. Like they want to get this done now so that they can overcome his veto later on. This is definitely a priority of these lawmakers. So it's a problem. All right, so we're gonna move on now. We got our quick call to action. So we just told you about how bad the Republicans are in Kentucky, right? So you want to help us do something about it? Right? You do. I'm fired up. Let's do something. Let's turn this state purple. We have actually got we are organizing in a meeting, a kind of volunteer team meeting. We want to hear from folks who are connected with us. We want to hear your ideas about how we can work together to kind of hold lawmakers accountable. We have got some of our leaders are queued up to talk about certain organizing projects. We've been working with Kit, if you recall Kit. They've not been on the live stream for a little while, but they are our organizing chair and are going to help spread the word and get that vision of what we can do on the grassroots level to start talking to people, start building up that army, to start educating folks about these policies and how they affect our state and what we need to do to fix that political landscape in our kind of small yet significant ways, because it all adds up, right? So that's going to be 3:00. Saturday, March 20th, next Saturday. We have a survey that we would like you to fill out beforehand. So tell us about the issues you're concerned about and what kind of organizing projects you'd like to help out with, and fill out that survey. When you fill out that survey, you'll give us your email address. Once we have your email address, we'll send you out the Zoom link. So it's just kind of like a 2-step process. If you're on our email list already, we probably sent you out the Zoom link. But if you would like to, get in this, it's not going to be a Facebook Live. It's going to be a Zoom call so we can hear from you, kind of more of a back and forth. So that's what's happening. I'm excited. I hope you'll join us. Denise, you going to be there?
I will do my best to be there.
Wait, what? That was like not the answer I was expecting.
2 events planned at the same time, so I'm going to be there when I'll be in and out.
All right. That was not the answer I was hoping for.
I know it was not. And I was like,
Denise is a rock star. Denise is our rock star. Like, obviously, we gotta get.
I don't know about that, but thank you for the love.
All right. How about you, Kimberly? You gonna be there? Say yes.
Your answer is supposed to be yes, no matter what.
Oh, that's how we're doing it now. Okay.
So I said,
I'm gonna say maybe and a possible.
Oh my gosh, this is a tough crowd. This is a tough crowd. I can't even get my co-host to show up.
Wait,
all right.
Hold up, Mr. Aaron. Hold up.
Oh Lord, here we go, y'all.
Hold up.
I
will try my very, very best to be there because this organization is so incredibly important that maybe Denise and I can work out a half and half. You know what I'm saying? Like there will be presence, okay? There will be Black girl magic, okay? And I
even when we're not present, we're present. So that's right.
I mean, Denise was at the organizing meeting to set up the meeting. So, her vision is going to be shared there, whether she's able to, show up specifically at that moment or not.
This is the first time I've heard of it. So, I mean, I look forward.
What? Yeah. Lies and deceit right there.
That was intentional, just to be clear. That was
this sounds like a podcast to me. This sounds like an actual podcast, right?
I'm gonna get us moving forward
Yeah.
because I clearly have just stepped in it with that whole call to action thing. But we are excited because we're going to be joined right now by an interview with Catherine Muller, who has strong ties to Eastern Kentucky, where, of course, as we mentioned last week, the historic flooding that's going on, that local disaster declarations in at least 49 communities. But we want to hear kind of from her what's going on out there and have a conversation about how folks can help. So Catherine, welcome to the show.
Thanks, y'all. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, we're so glad to have you because
Yes,
that's an area
welcome.
that critically important, really a spot that it was hard hit. And I want to just hear a couple things. But first, because again, we're not a news show, we're not a bunch of talking heads.
Right.
This is a digital demonstration for a more progressive Kentucky. What does your protest sign say today, Catherine?
My protest sign is not a protest, but it's encouragement. We all do better when we all do better. Paul Wellstone, the senator from Minnesota, it's one of my favorites, and I think it's encouraging and kind of puts everybody in their place. Everybody does better. We all do better when we all do better. It's one of my favorites. It's a mantra.
It's a good one. Yeah, Wellstone, what a champion for working people. What a loss, what a tragic loss,
Yeah.
But not just tax cuts for the rich that will trickle down. There's a little bit of a fundamental different view of the world. All right, so tell us a little bit though about kind of what are you hearing, what are you experiencing, what are your people telling you about how the flooding, obviously the water's I think gone down at this point, but
Sure.
what's the impact?
Well, so the water. I'm from Martin County, and that's where I spent. I've been home since this happened, and I'll go home again in a week to do some more stuff. But the water comes in, and in a lot of places, like in northern Martin County and Warfield, it sits and it sits and it sits and it sits, and there's nowhere for it to go. So all of that sediment, which includes real toxic coal slurry, sits, and then there's mildew and mud and coal and all kinds of really, really bad stuff. And people that were already incredibly poor and having a really hard time, now they've lost everything, and because of the sediment and the slurry and the mold and everything, this isn't, you can't take it outside and power wash it down with bleach. This is it's gone, and these folks are already waiting on unemployment to kick in, or maybe struggling to get unemployment because they didn't really have secure employment before. And this is just salt in a real long lasting festering wound. I mean, it's just doubled down on an already impossible situation. Martin County's not the only one. Of course, Breathitt County just got absolutely wrecked. Johnson County had a ton of flooding, even right there in town in the courthouse in Paintsville. It's all over Eastern Kentucky in areas that already, were just having a horrible time, and now it's even worse.
That does sound just horrible.
Exactly.
And I think that is when the water goes away, it's not like everything's fine, right?
Right.
That, and especially if it sits there for a while, that the mold, and oftentimes like toxic mold, like that.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a toxic situation.
Yeah.
This can grow to something even like a deadly is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. So
Yep. And I was really lucky. I did just a Facebook post about, like, give me some donations. I live in this great neighborhood in Frankfort now, the neighborhood around the Capitol, and my neighbors and my friends. Shout out to Kid who helped me pack a Subaru full of 30,000 gallons of bleach and laundry soap. I took a whole bunch of cleaning supplies and stuff home, and stocked a local staging location in Tomahawk, where I'm from. But I also got a ton of money. People gave me a lot of money on Venmo to spend, and I've been talking on email and the phone with some of the local public school resource officers to figure out what the best thing to spend that money on is on. And it looks like it's going to be mattresses and box springs and bed frames, because those are they got soaked and there's no replacing them, and it would be dangerous to try to clean them and do so. So I think that a lot of the money that's coming in is going to go for things like bedding and mattresses and soft goods that absolutely, no matter what, cannot be saved. Like they have to be replaced because it's dangerous and like Denise said, deadly.
Yeah.
But these are people that can't afford it. You know, there is no money to get on Amazon and order up a new roll-up mattress for $200. Like that's out. That's just not. It's not possible. When I say this is a poor region, I mean it's
like yeah, and people out here in these Lexington, my Lexingtonians in the urban areas in central Kentucky.
yes.
I need, if you have not been to Martin County or out in, to the border between, of Kentucky and Tennessee, not Tennessee, but Virginia and West Virginia, I need for you all to at least one time in your life, go check it out. We're seeing poverty like you wouldn't know that you're in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It's something that once you see, you will be very fired up about. And also, I'm about to do a plug for myself. Also, go watch last night, and then we'll get back to your conversation. I had my first rural edition Kentucky Conversations with the Bluegrass Activist Alliance about just issues that concern people in rural parts. And we had my good friends, Mickey and Nina McCoy.
Yeah, they're from Martin County.
Learn those my Inez, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we had other folk out there who were talking exactly about these issues that like shocked me. So
Mickey and Nina are gems of the Commonwealth. And if we don't have statues of both of them in the rotunda by the time I die, I'm gonna go down fighting. I mean, they're two of the most valuable Kentuckians ever. This is tertiary, but it's relevant. When I was in school, I did a lot of research on urban and rural poverty management trends and how urban poor people manage to get through, and women with children is what I focused on, and rural and the similarities are endless. Poor people manage all about the same way. It's very matriarchal in the mountains still, and I think it's very matriarchal in urban areas as well. And poor people are using the same ways to manage with this kind of tragedy as they do in the cities too. They lean on each other, they lean on their moms and sisters and neighbors, and it's really a pull together kind of attitude, which is great to see, but it shouldn't have to be that way. Appalachia was abandoned a long time ago.
yes.
After the coal was gone, everybody pulled out and left, and they're just leaning on each other now.
And they shouldn't have to lean on each other. They should have, if you're in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, you should be able to have access to clean water, infrastructure that is working. You shouldn't have to move to Lexington nor to Louisville to have adequate living arrangements.
Right.
But I'm going to get off my soapbox because you're the
No,
guest.
girl, we'll be on it together.
Yes.
Well, hey, so Catherine, really important that you're sharing that. I think it's a completely, accurate assessment, like how horrible it is that we've allowed this part of our Commonwealth to be, basically written off for, a generation at least, right?
Yeah.
And it's time for a change there, certainly. What are ways that people can directly help out? Like, what do you recommend people do to get some support to these areas?
Well, as far as the flooding goes, and this is all I've got for now, and I wanted to provide like vetted, good resources for people that they can feel confident donating their money or goods or time to. So just at flood specific, I've got a list that I would, thanks everybody for listening. So Appalachian Reach Out is ARO, and they've got a really good Facebook page and a website, and they're located in Martin County, but they also serve over in Louisa, which is Lawrence County. Mm-hmm. The Breathitt County Hunger Alliance is a good one. They're primarily a food bank, food resource, but as is so often the case in these small rural communities, one nonprofit often does a ton of other work and helping people find clothing or medicine or get their insulin, doctor's appointments, that kind of thing. Aspire Appalachia is a good one. Christian Appalachian Project is an oldie but a goodie. They are always reliable. They are superb stewards of their money. And I know that the name is, Christian Appalachian Project, and some people for some people that might be a turnoff, and they think, oh, I don't want to do anything that's just going to the church, but their funds go to the people. That it's not. I want to be very clear that it's Christian Appalachian Project is, they're dedicated to who they're serving. It's not. I think the name is misleading for folks. And then I really, I think it's important to weigh in on how important local newspapers and local journalism is here. The Mountain Citizen in Martin County is the only reason that they got emergency status from Governor Beshear's office. The county judge executive there in Martin County was not going to call Andy Beshear and request emergency funds status. Rocky Atkins has a famous quote, or not quote, but like saying about it. And he said, hell, we'll take a shout across the creek. That's enough for us to declare an emergency situation somewhere. You don't have to fill out fancy paperwork, just let us know. And the county judge executive in Martin County was not going to do it until the wonderful people at the Mountain Citizen held his feet to the fire and said, we're going to tell everybody if you don't. Well, I'm telling everybody now, and they are too. It's fine. But local newspapers and local journalism in these places, it is critical that we support them and we buy subscriptions if it's your hometown or your nana's hometown. Keep up with what's going on, but these newspapers are what that's it. Yeah, the Mountain Citizen, like everybody buy a year's subscription. Just keep them going. But I don't think that people understand that sometimes this is the only way that the word gets out to the papers in Lexington and Louisville, is through these independent tiny newspapers. It's really important.
That's a good point. And then we actually had a question in the comments. Betty asked about whether FEMA is available for people. And I think I just did a quick Google search. Doesn't look like there's been an official FEMA disaster declaration yet. There's been the state disaster declarations all around, but there's not gotten the federal one. And we need that to get FEMA mobilized. And I know that, Governor Beshear is asking for it. I'm assuming that, somebody like
I believe
Mitch
they were
McConnell.
holding off on that. No, they were waiting for the COVID. I recall reading it was in the news. Sorry, why did I jump in to clarify it when I didn't remember all the facts? Apologize. Moving on to someone else.
I have a question for Miss Catherine.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you all forgot about me. Hi, Miss Catherine.
Hi.
I know and have heard about you that you're very much politically active as a Democrat.
Yes.
And as I am here in Jefferson County and in other places. And I was just thinking about how people can help out. I know that my sorority, one of our tenets is service, and I do belong to Alpha Kappa Alpha. That would be the same sorority as our leader, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. So I will talk to my sorors about possibly helping in whatever that we can do, because we love to do service. But I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, what's your take on Eastern Kentucky right now? It's swung so very much to the right when it used to be a Kentucky Democratic stronghold. And what I've said all along is that many counties in Kentucky are now and have been for the last 4 years feeling the effects of the Trump regime. So what are your thoughts on that?
All right. I am no expert, but I got a big mouth and a lot of thoughts. And a rural Appalachian Eastern Kentucky Democrat is always more conservative than a central Kentucky Democrat, always. So I think a lot of times when people say, oh my God, they're all turning red out there, they're turning conservative, they've always been pretty conservative. A lot of that I think that had a whole lot to do with it. When the coal boom ended and they moved out with all the coal, just raped the land, took all the money, all the coal, and left no infrastructure, no roads, no rail lines, nothing. The coal operators just took it, ran, didn't follow the EPA regulations. Coal mining's important. Do not get me wrong. I'm, real aware of how important coal has been to Eastern Kentucky, but that money didn't stay there. And when the coal was gone, and that also meant that the coal truck companies were gone and the mechanics that worked on the trucks and the machinery, so all of that labor, a lot of times supported by unions, it started to kind of peter out. And I think that when the union support started to peter out, the Republicans swept in and they gave that right to work stuff, and it is all shit. Sorry, but it is. But it really appealed to people. It did, and they were already, I would say, moderate to conservative mindsets about things like religion and guns and abortion. And I'm not even trying to get into that. But for an already conservative area that was mostly Democrat because of labor and unions, when that union work started to leave because there was none left, it had a big impact, and people really got caught up in the Republican rhetoric and frankly diatribe of oh, we're going to come in and save you, and we're bringing Jesus with us. No, you're not. You're going to come in and scare people to death, so they just spend all their time praying and not paying attention to what you're doing. Did that answer your question? I get on the rails about this sometimes. I'm not sure I did.
Yes, it did, very much. I was able to actually hear a lot more than what I had anticipated. And all of these things do work hand in hand on why that maybe had happened. I think that sometimes I am a progressive, but I think I'm not, just totally all the way to like this extreme left. And I think sometimes
Right.
if you're too extreme left, I think being progressive is great. We're progressing, right?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes like if you're too to that extreme of left, it could maybe, I don't know, scare some of the more conservatives away. But I'm hoping that, when it comes time to elect people again, that they will understand that we care, our party cares about the people, and there's another party that needs to go and really has no other interest but self-interest. There's a difference between being selfish, self-interest, and trying to be interested in helping other people. So I believe that's what it is. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Well, I agree with what you said about being too left, like practical progressive. Like that's how I identify as I'm a practical progressive. I mean, and I think if you look at it's just about people have to live, and poverty is poverty no matter what part of the state you're in. The downside of being in the mountains is that you're so isolated, and those folks have been isolated for so long that they are terrified, and reasonably rightfully so, of anybody trying to come in. There's a real concern about establishment government and establishment politicians, and the visit and vanish is famous. There's an election cycle coming up, so the gubernatorial candidates come through, the Senate candidates come through, the House, the state Senate, and they parade around and they say, oh, we're going to fix it, and when I get elected, you're going to have running water, and you're going to have jobs, and you're going to have internet and all this. So then they either lose and they never come back, or they win, but they get swayed by the Louisville big money and Lexington big money and the larger interests, and they never go back. No, I can think of two politicians recently that have actually kept up with what's going on and gone back to keep on touching base and making sure people knew they were there to support them. And one of them's Charles Booker and the other one's Adam Edelin. And outside of those two, nobody ever goes back, ever, except for them.
Yeah, I hope Andy gets back into those communities, because I know that he had Rocky with him at least in that kind of final push after the primary, and I think that helped an awful lot. Obviously he was also running against somebody who had shown who he was, right? So Matt Bevin had shown very clearly who he was, and then was not a friend of working folks, right? So now what are we going to do about it, though, right? So I think we need to show that Democratic policies mean you do better. Right. So the $300 a month that are coming to you because of the American Rescue Plan means that your life in rural, Kentucky is going to be better. Does that mean that, they're going to get clean water and that broadband's going to be there for you immediately? No, but Andy was fighting to get more money for broadband to get it out there into these areas, whereas the Republicans stopped him from doing that. right? He wanted to use some of this windfall to actually help deliver broadband in areas that need it. And what happened? The Republicans said no. So, a kind of cultural fight does not make folks' life better, right? But actual policies can. And I think we just need to make sure that we aren't getting dragged down into the cultural piece. Because I get it. Nancy Pelosi is not popular in some of these counties, and Mitch McConnell, as much as he's like horrible, like he whatever, like he's a Kentuckian, so they'd rather have him in power than some cultural elitist, right?
Is it bad for me to say something really quick?
Apparently it is not, because here you are. What do you got?
Oh, hello. I like Nancy Pelosi. I think she's done a great job. Like, I don't think enough people say that.
But Nancy doesn't live in Kentucky.
No, she doesn't.
They do.
I'm not
Not only that, there needs to be more people reaching out to the diverse demographic that you do have in rural areas. I don't think that we really touch upon them, or they really feel included in the democratic processes.
They don't. Once again, a plug for my show. Go watch that Bluegrass Activist Alliance presents Kentucky Conversations with Denise Gray, Rural Edition.
Okay, so you know what, Aaron, it's just gonna be a plug for shows today. No, I'm just
I'm going to say this. I think we've gone a little long. I'm going to thank Catherine for bringing her perspective, because I think it's super valuable. Glad we could share a bunch of those links so people can know where to go to donate. And then I'm going to just say, hey, we're going to wrap up the show, and we're going to, because we've gone a little long, right? So we made a promise to ourselves and others that we would try to keep this show as close to half an hour as possible, and we've blown well past that. So we're going to wrap up now. Catherine, any final thoughts you want to leave us with in terms of what we can do to help, or, some political considerations you really think we need to know?
First of all, I can't believe that I get to be on a show with Denise Gray. Like, I am tickled. I am tickled. This is great. And Kimberly, it is so nice to meet you too. I just, this is like, I'm a little starstruck. I won't lie. I really think that the Democratic Party in Kentucky, many people, I've worked for them in 100 different campaigns. The most important thing is that we have to go to Eastern Kentucky the way we go to the cities, and we have to stay. We cannot just go in at election times and say, hey, our Democratic policies are the best. They're better. Vote for us, and then leave. Like, who the hell's going to believe that? Nobody. We have to go in and set up shop and be available and be there all the time. We have to be available 100% of the time, not just on election cycles. We're never going to win if we keep ignoring the mountains like we do and swooping in. People are smart, and they realize when you're just pandering for their vote and you don't seem to, even if you do care, they realize when you don't seem like you care. And we have got to set up shop and be a permanent available commodity for folks to use in the mountains. And that's the hard line as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but is Mitch there? Is Mitch showing up? I mean,
who cares about him?
Like, isn't that the thing though? There has to be a contrast. Like, it's a choice. Are the Republicans setting up shop there?
It doesn't matter what they're doing. It's what, as far as I'm concerned, it's what we need to do. Who cares about Mitch? Who cares about Rand? Let them do or not do whatever they're going to do. It has to be up to us, and when I say us, I mean progressives and Democrats and liberals here in the rest of the Commonwealth. We have to go do the work. We're never going to win again if we don't go do the work and be genuine about it. We can't just roll through and wave and say we're going to fix it on our way out the door. We have to be there.
That's true.
I don't think worrying about what Mitch and Rand are doing is going to do us any good.
All right, because they got the guns and they got the God and they got the anti-abortion, so it's easy to go with them. The Democrats are gonna have to win them over with some actual getting the job done.
Right, but that takes patience.
100%. Thanks so much. Looks like you are a fan. You got fans there in the comments, Catherine. Lots of folks are excited to hear what you have to say. So thank you for sharing it with us.
I'll answer all your questions. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Check out Catherine's live stream. It'll be happening soon on this Facebook platform. All right. I think we're going to have Kimberly wrap up, as we do most every week, with some final thoughts.
Yes, I just like to say, Aaron, thank you, that I do believe in God and I believe in my guns, but I am a Democrat. How about that? Okay, so are you ready? Yes, you are. You are ready to make Kentucky purple. We need 5,000 likes on our Facebook page. I know you can do it. We're like over 4,000 now. So you can do it. Invite your friends. Go on the page. You can click on there, invite, and then just click that one little thing and invite all your friends. You know, you don't have to go one by one by one by one. Just click it, invite all your friends. Those that need to know will like our page, and those that don't, well, we'll catch them next time. So we really, really appreciate that. And also, please go check us out there on our Facebook page and like us. If you haven't already, it's a responsibility to like us. Numbers do count. Also, I think everybody knows that the Commonwealth needs more kernels of truth to call out the propaganda and ridiculous claims of folks like Mitch, Rand, and Andy Barr. We're hatching a plan to reach out to our neighbors and mobilize folks around the state to join us and take action, but it's going to take you. And it's going to take some resources. We're going to print up some postcards. We're going to add some more handwritten messages, and we're going to spread the word as well as you will. We've got a goal of raising $1,500 for this project, which is a really low amount. So I just don't see any problem with us getting that rather quickly. So please consider making a donation right now, and go hit us up on the Act Blue account right there that you see on the screen. Make a donation to support this very, very important campaign. Okay, I'm counting on you. So, you know, once again, this show could never, ever be what it is. I know you all like all the, you know, scenes coming up and all those type of things. So we just always want to especially thank Ken at Couchfire Media for producing. Couchfire Media ignites multi-camera, live stream, fiction, narrative, nonfiction, educational, informative, animation, and commercial video production content. Set your content on fire with Couchfire Media. So Ken owes me money for that infomercial. So just put in the comments how much you think Ken needs to pay me for doing that wonderful infomercial that I just did. And, you know, I would be remiss if we didn't always thank Nate for the song that you hear, our theme song. And if you want to hear more of his songs, which you do, go to natosongs.com. That's N-A-T-O. songs.com, and make sure that you're following and watching. You know, we have co-hosts on here that do other things as well. Miss Denise Gray, my friend, she told you about her show. Wonderful, wonderful show. It's the second Sunday of every month over there at Bluegrass Activist Alliance Facebook page. And as she told you, it's all about rural Kentucky right now. And it has been very informative for me to learn of another spectrum of Kentucky, because we're all Kentuckians, all of us, whether you're urban or rural, we're all Kentuckians. We're in this together. And I really, really, really would be remiss if I did not tell you every Sunday at 1 o'clock on the Facebook page, the Jones Report radio program. And that is the show where I am the host, and Mike Breuer is my co-host, Betsy Foster is my co-host, and we just have fun. We just fly by the seat of our pants. And my favorite subjects are talking about Mitch McConnell, anything GOP, and Trump. Yes, he's still in our life. So catch us every Sunday at 1 o'clock. You can also catch us on this page as well. So just want to shout out and give a real thank you to Miss Catherine for all that information that she gave us. Thank you once again to Denise Gray. Thank you to Ken, Nate, and I just love, love, love my brother in this fun time that we have every Monday, Aaron Viles. And you know what, everybody? Do something really, really nice for everybody this week, okay? And we'll see you back right here, same bat channel, same time, 7 p.m. Have a good week.